Thank you for joining us. This will be my thoughts on... I don't know why I said us. Whatever. This will be my thoughts on Marvel Zombies Season 1, Episode 4. Simply titled Episode 4. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for the episode and the show leading up to it, and potentially everything MCU and adjacent leading up to it. Yes, I think that pretty well covers... I love most of this episode. I don't really know quite how to feel about the ending yet. Maybe I'll figure out over the course of recording this. I will say, I Googled for, I was not the only person who, Googled Marvel Zombies ending explained. Found one. Let's see, Polygon, and it was a pretty good article. But one of the comments points out that it might have misunderstood the ending. So it's like even the explained thing may not have fully understood. Yeah, there's several things that they could have done different. I think I'm going to go scene by scene first before I talk specifically about the ending in greater detail. I guess I'll just so I don't forget. So the Polygon article thinks that Ironheart died in the first episode, and someone points out, she didn't die in the first episode. She injected herself with a cure. Then Iron Man's body went back to save her. They didn't show her fate. The implication was that she survived, where the Polygon article was like, well, we see Riri, there at the end, so I guess everything that happened was a hallucination. And yeah, I mean, I guess the idea is actually that it's not a hallucination. Everything happened. It's, there's a bit of hallucination there at the very end, the perfect world thing. But Riri managed to get there off screen. Like, I don't mind stuff happening off screen. I love when that is done right. I mean, how the fuck did she know where to go? Who found her? Like, if one of the wizards found her, why not tell the others? Like, it feels... I don't know. I'm not sure they thought it through all the way, and it's also like right now I have no idea if there's more than one season. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna try to decide before I finish this video how I feel about the ending. But there's other stuff I definitely want to that I do feel confident about what I'm gonna say. Wait, is that? Oh, okay, that's what that is. Anyway, the let's see. Yeah, most of the strengths of the previous episodes also apply to this. I'm not sure I can point to one specific zombie movie that this really reminds me of, but I haven't watched all of them. So it's possible that there's just something, I don't know, honestly a little bit... I feel dirty even saying it. Resident Evil Retribution, because that one also had zombies, using guns and vehicles at least a little bit. That's kind of the only thing. Other than that, like, there's video games where that kind of thing happens. I feel like that's probably the case. Certainly, some of the zombies. There's at least... Wow, it feels weird to say out loud, but I barely remember. I think it was called Zombie Army Elite, Nazi Zombie Army, right? Something like that. That first game, I remember at least one enemy that used guns. So not sure I remember any using vehicles offhand. Anyway, I think... But yeah, great character moments, and It does genuinely get emotional. Acting is phenomenal. Um, yeah, I largely felt like they did a good job. I mentioned in my video on the third episode, a lot of lore. I felt like this one actually did a pretty decent job. Um, and the idea that, like up to this point, we didn't really know exactly what Wanda was doing, other than that she definitely had some focus on Kamala. Um, yeah, I think that might be about it for the overall overarching. Um, yes, so I did really appreciate that we basically immediately follow up on the cliffhanger. And yeah, cool to see them trying to fly away. And I do appreciate the fact that, yeah, ultimately they weren't able to fly away. The ship is destroyed. It's fortunate that Kamala is able to save them. I really appreciate how good she is with her powers here. She really does. Um, she's mastered them to a really cool degree. So that's great. And that is also something, I don't know if this show was made, if some of the stuff with her powers in this show um, was like a response to, because I remember a lot of people, I have to admit I haven't read that much. Well, shit, I guess with Kamala I haven't read any. Uh, I have no problem with it. I don't think she was in any of the books that I read. Um, and the yeah, but I remember when we saw that her power was hard light, there were a number of people saying that they felt that was really wrong for the character. And here she does in this show, not just this episode, she does some things that she couldn't do if her powers were being stretchy. The machine gun sort of thing, for example, and forming a perfect airtight thing around, like how would she be able to do that if, yeah, I guess it's not impossible, but I feel like it would probably be kind of awkward for her to be stretching and like, yeah, moving on. Yeah, I do think this show does a pretty decent job making a case for it. I think the so I'm not. I have no regrets about criticizing the MCU humor in the third episode. I think here they did a better job. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I guess it's not impossible that they're just fucking wearing me down, or maybe I'm like, well, it's the last fucking episode. Let's just get it over with. I don't know. But I felt like there was still tension when, the thing about, Kamala, there's cracks. I know. There's more cracks. I know. Kamala, shut up and let me focus. I don't know. That felt like there was tension there, and they needed to say something. It needed to be more than just us seeing the cracks forming, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, the thing about, oh, can you fly this thing back? Who said I could fly this thing? And I liked Valkyrie mentioning, I wonder if this counts as an honor, as dying in battle, which, like, yeah, that's a genuinely, I don't know. But yeah, she wants to get into Valhalla, of course. She hasn't partied for like 5 seconds. I think that more or less gets us back to Earth. So, and the thing about, what was it? Disinfection of ship complete. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so they get back, what's it called? They get back into Earth's atmosphere before the cracks, which, yeah, I mean, it's obviously, it's still not completely realistic, but it's more realistic than them being able to survive, the vacuum of space. Um, yeah. And I mean the actual, like, the void of space. I'm not talking about, like, you know, space balls. But they ain't found shit. But they get close enough, and we have they get ported out of there. I was wondering if Speedy Thing goes in, Speedy Thing goes out, but she just comes to, like, in a, I don't know, maybe we didn't see her land, and it was a good, like, transition. Um, and I like, her, because of course she, like, geeks out over Spider-Man. They didn't have her mention fanfic, but then they also, I think they did enough jokes about that. Let's see, there was at least one joke, like, about that in the Marvels, and the now I guess kind of two, because there's the bit where she's doing fan fiction that has her team up with Carol Danvers, and then later there's the thing about, how many fanfic chapters are you going to write based on this? A lot. I think that was good. I think, because I do know, I've heard her writing fanfic is a big part of the comic character. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you think there should have been. Yeah, the they there's the thing about, I'll all will be explained. I kind of like that Blade Knight just remains there, and so does Scott, because Scott has already heard it said by the wizards, and Blade Knight knows because of Khonshu. So that was a good little detail. And the line, I don't know, sue me, I kind of liked, so, all right, bold choice in the zombie apocalypse. Because, like, yeah, how is he going to keep that shit clean? Jesus. But but yeah, I think that pretty well gets us to the explainy part. Right. I did also think the choreography, it feels weird to call it that, but of the space, not quite battle, but the them trying to flee, flying around, sort of like changing directions a lot as they're being fired on. Okay, maybe I'll earn back a little bit of my cred. Wasn't the biggest fan of the joke about, press the something button. What button is it? Now! And then he just presses randomly, and the ship just stops dead. What did you do? I've never flown a ship of space before. Just, like, I was not a fan of that. I think that I would have preferred, like, I wouldn't even mind if it was a joke, but just something other than, because again, it becomes white noise. It's just people chattering, it's annoying, kind of. And I get that that's part of the point, but I don't think it was beneficial here. I think, the annoying humor can work really well, but yeah, you gotta put it, yeah, you have to time get it exactly right, and I don't think they did here. Let's see. I think the yeah, I'll just briefly. So hypothetically, instead of them chattering like that, just have Valkyrie say, "I know how we can get out of here." As long as they're all behind us, and then suddenly several of them fly in front, and then she's like, and then just like close up on her, she's like, shit. And then it blows up. Kamala fixes, or manages to finish forming the bubble around them. That's still a joke, but it's not so just noisy cricket-y. Anyway, yes, I think, yeah, um, genuinely a pretty cool concept. Infinity Hulk. I don't think they say it, but that's how he's identified in the subtitles. Whenever he like groans or that sort of thing. Um, yeah, that's a cool concept. And then you have the let's see. What was the other thing? Okay, thinking a little bit about it. Okay, so Ironheart, maybe the idea is that she was like um, never that far behind Riri. But no, yeah, but how did she get to Kamertage? I guess were the sorcerers also also like spotted her and ported her and then got her in after? I don't know. I think it's a lot to have happen off screen without any kind of just like if there had been little hints that she was close, maybe. Um, I don't know. Maybe one of the source in the battle, one of the sorcerers says, "We have one last, hope," and then contacts one of the other sorcerers and just barely gets to say, activate Plan B, and then is killed by a zombie. And so we don't know right away what Plan B is, but then when we see her, we're like, oh, that was Plan B. I think that could. I don't think it had to. It didn't have to be this way. Uh, yeah, I think the let's see. Yeah, I did very much appreciate, like last episode, it was Kamala who gave the pep talk uh to Alexei, and which helped save the day. Alexei was important in the yeah. And um yeah, and there were times where in was it episode 2 maybe? I think it might have been episode in one of the episodes. Shang-Chi was like, I don't know about this, and this time he is like, and he does admit like I'm still, this is still a lot, but he manages to talk her into it, and her hug, this just and he does the MCU thing of that just happened, but yeah, uh, if you have never had the pleasure of knowing um, Muslim immigrants to the West, a lot of them are very, very affectionate, um, and just like warm, wonderful people. I'm not saying every single individual one, but like I've I've met several dozen, and the vast majority were just yeah, some of the nicest, most giving, most helpful people that I've ever met. Far more than the vast majority of white cis het men who were like native born to Denmark, where I live. The immigrants, both men and women, the Muslim immigrants from the Middle East, just incredibly, yeah. Uh, let's see, and I think that might bring us to the so yeah, um, genuinely incredible action. Some of the best action of the show so far. Um, and it did like I don't know that I can think of like a zombie fiction that feels like it feel reminiscent of like some movies with big battle scenes. So the let's see, was it the first episode? I think the one where a bunch of the Black Widows die, and Melina gives up her own life. Um, that battle, there were times where I got a vibe of um, the movie 300. And obviously, fuck the fascistic bullshit propaganda in that movie. It can go fuck. So I'm not really saying, I'm trying to figure out. I haven't decided yet if I know I hate the politics. I'm still deciding if I can at all look past that, if I think that's right to look past that and look at the technical aspects. Anyway, that battle and the big battle in this one both reminded me of, because you have waves attacking a small group who you know can just barely make it, and some of the choreography felt very reminiscent. But I've watched enough anime to recognize there's some wonderful anime stuff going on in the big final battle. Maybe especially, I don't know, if at least some of it when it's just Infinity Hulk versus the fact that he just like punches, yeah. And it's very cool because like the Abomination usually is stronger than Hulk, but this is Infinity Hulk, so one punch and just fucking gone. And the what's the word, the oh wait, shit, no, I think wasn't he the one that got One Punch Man? Shit, there's so many details to remember. Anyway, and the big, massive, like, you've got a shockwave, you've got a dust cloud, and just the way that that felt very reminiscent of that kind of anime, the ones with that sort of thing, Um, yeah, just really, really cool. The hordes of zombies run up, and he just punches one after another away. And there's also a bit where he moves extremely fast, just punch, 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 punch. And that also felt very, very anime. I think, does that bring us to the... I feel like there's something else I wanted to say there. Also really appreciated the way that the tactics change over the course of the battle, and that again, both of the 300 movies have multiple tactics displayed. And the let's see, uh, the at one point, there's the, but sire, our troops, fire. And there's the gigantic fucking pinned up, yeah, giant sized zombies that like, and I don't think he even said step on me daddy, but they sure do. And punch, and just the bit where we see his face getting close to the ground, just yeah, very, very cool. And he like cuts them apart with just like, and he starts like, it looks like he's got fucking telekinesis, just so fucking cool. And they do a really great job visualizing, over the course of the battle. Like at first it seems like, oh, he's got this, but she has so many, and she attacks with different things, and after several minutes of it, he starts to get like these wounds, these injuries, And then later we see them start to heal just a tiny bit, but slowly, and they're still losing the overall battle, and thus the war. Uh, yeah, so glad that Elizabeth Olsen did this. Just fantastic. Her little appeals to Kamala and the whispers and just the whole way, just wonderful. Yeah, the let's see, we have the uh, yeah, some amazing stuff in the final battle here. Loved Blade using, like throwing these little blades as he's, his namesake. I love the part where he swings the sword and we see Khonshu reflected in it. Okay, so I want to make clear, I am here for Spider-Man ripping off zombie heads with his webs. It gives me life. Num num num, I eat it up. Wonderful. However, with that said, I am team... I'm sorry, but in that fucking trailer, I did love Blade Knight, fucking filleting, just cutting the shit out of Zombie Ghost over Spider-Man ripping zombie heads off with his webs. I'm in the actual episodes. The battle is more monumental. So here I am, more of I like this battle better than that other one, which is not taking away from how great that other one was. I think... Right, I also really liked how fucking calm he is. I mean, I guess... Sorry, shit. I gotta... Context. When Blade Knight, when they're all plummeting to Earth, and it's like, I don't know, I guess hopefully we land in the water. There's a lot of that on the planet. Maybe you should call it water instead of Earth. And hopefully there's that thing about, how much distance there is so that so that you don't get fucking destroyed by landing in the water. But he's just fucking happy as a clam. He is completely calm while they're plummeting, and then they all get, ported away. I mean, I guess Khonshu was like, dude, don't even worry about it. They're porting. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. Nobody's getting anyone. And the I think, yeah, it was great when some of the zombie Avengers pop up. Some of the remaining ones, Clint gets fucking... let's see, I think he got cut in half or something. And yeah, the OG Ant-Man and Wasp attack, and Hope attacks. And they use the growing and shrinking really well for the different... the 10 rings can't quite hit them because they shrink. And the shrinking to dodge something, that does feel like more of a Ghost move than those two, but it was cool. It was really cool. And we have the I don't know, I kind of respect the fact that they actually did play straight a stop hitting yourself gag. Like, do bullies even say that anymore? I remember movies from like the 80s and 90s having shit like that. But yeah, the shit, what was the other? I also really like the other solution for one of... Right, I like that, at one point one of them like steps on one of them because they've shrunk. And am I remembering right that then they grow to giant size, so that, that's a good move, counter move sort of deal. And I think that might. I really loved the Minotaur getting evidently some nutter fucked a cow. But the fact that uses the horns, you mess with the Minotaur, you get the horns, and I don't know. I kind of like Valkyrie saying, "If there's one thing I learned this life, is that when a Minotaur talks, you listen to it." I want to know what has happened to her that made her say that. Did she get and then ignore advice from a Minotaur on how the fuck to leave the goddamn maze? Is that what? I don't know. I know it's just a silly throwaway joke, but I kind of want to. I guess I should be careful. If Disney's listening, we're going to get a mini-series about that as well. Okay, that might not be the worst idea. Right. I don't know how I went this long without saying. Obviously, fuck Disney. What I'm praising here is the work of actual creative people, not anything Disney, the corporation, has done. Yeah. Yeah, they need to treat their employees better and stand up to Donald Trump. And yeah, I think that there's not that much more I have to say about the big battle, I guess. It was yeah, the fact that yeah. Oh right. I can't believe I forgot. If I'm remembering right, Wanda was like right in fucking front of Infinity Hulk, she almost won, and then they show up. So yeah. Come to think of it, they didn't really do a character self-sacrifices in this episode, did they? Characters end up dead or bitten, but it's not the big self-sacrifice. And that was also very cool. Like, oh shit, did anybody but her? I think she might have been. She and evidently Riri were the only ones standing on the battlefield there at the end. And Infinity Hulk, I think. I'm not sure if he died from the, but yeah. Then we have, but yeah, so they save, we gotta have the big, oh, just in the nick of time, hero comes in to save the day. Let's see, I think the the bit where Wanda says, how about your old friends, and yeah, I mean, shit, it's she brings back the people that, because they were zombified, that makes more sense. Wanda is in control of the zombies, she's gonna have them zombified so that she has an ace in her sleeve. Right. Also, the fact that during the when Kamala needs a pep talk, before Shang-Chi sits down and talks, we see there's this overlay of the faces of Kate, Riri. Uh, let's see. Also, Yelena and Alexei. Yeah, basically the ones that she really deeply cared about, and that died or zombified. Very, very nicely done, because at the very, close to the very end, we have the shit, what's it called? We have yeah. Okay, so first several of them show up. Yeah, I guess all except for Riri show up as zombies, and then she, sees them in this, fake reality as, everything's okay again, so very, very nicely done on that. And there's also, yeah, I mean, I wanted them back. Like, if it could be done without, it being a bad story element. But yeah, The or fake, I mean. But the yeah, they did a really good job. We got a sense of the bond in the first episode, and then well, yeah, I guess it was before the end of the first episode that several of them had turned, or in Riri's case, disappeared temporarily uh, from our site. Anyway, yes, I firmly believe that is it for that. So that was, and it's such a great, that's again where I do think hard light makes sense, because if she was embiggening herself, if she had the elastic body, they'd just be biting her. That's not really what the scene needs. It needs the impenetrable shield. Um, yeah, her like basically just trying to hold them back, and like we can see this is not going to work. There's too many of them. They're too strong. I think that might. I feel like, um, yeah. So Wanda appeals to, and she's, there's that thing about it can't all be for nothing, and she says it won't be. If you work with me, I can bring them back. And she does end up, you know, giving her hand. Um, and the let's see. Right. I also like the part where Valkyrie is like, I forget exactly her words, but she said something positive to Kamala about Kamala, both, and yeah, she gives her hand, presumably not in marriage. Yeah, she's like 16, so not in marriage. But the let's see. I think that brings us to, this is not. I'm not Matt Walsh. I know I have my beard's too similar. It's yeah. Anyway, the yeah. So gives her hand, and the fake reality starts up, and yeah, she wakes up, in her bed, and her mom's calling for her. Your friends are at the door. Are you even out of bed yet? It just feels like that's, yeah, very, very nicely done on that. And yeah, she sees the two of them alive, and they talk about, oh, we're going out for boba, and there's they, oh, oh wait, is that the next scene? Anyway, yeah. So they mentioned Boba, and then she gives them a big hug, and yeah, there's, I think it's Riri says, well, eventually you're gonna have to, because she's like, I'm never letting you go again, and Riri says, eventually you're gonna have to, because we're going, otherwise how will we get Boba? And she hugs them really tightly, and they're like, oh, it's very intense, and it cuts from between their faces, and then we see them drinking boba, and then the intensity is them drinking very fast through the straw, or maybe it's just Kamala who drinks very fast through the straw. But again, that's technically an MCU joke, but I felt like the editing made it work, kind of, and again, it didn't take forever to get to the final punchline, because we know they like to have multiple punchlines in some of these. But yeah, because it built, like there's a thing about, oh, that's a very tight hug. Is everything okay? And they're like, yeah, it built. I've made my point. And the yeah, the thing about, I haven't had boba in 5 years. I haven't gone on the train in 5 years. I want to be crowded, people up in my face and smell them and not vomit. Um, yeah, I Kamala's pretty badly. If that's something she yearns for, I'm not sure anybody who lives in a big city has missed that. But again, that's the joke. Yes, I think does that pretty well bring us to the yeah, she notices a guy, and there's all three of them are checking him out, and then she starts to see the cracks in the facade. She sees zombies in the different places, and then we see Riri. She hacked the signal of the magic. Okay. And yeah, she says, fight back. And then we see Wanda's screaming face, and then we get end credits. So before I give my conclusion on the ending, I guess I'll briefly say, so again, right now it's unclear if there's going to be a season 2. I feel like if there isn't one, I feel like we're probably meant to just surmise that ultimately they did lose. Like Riri will be defeated shortly after the ending that we see, and Wanda will rule the world. If there is a season 2, I feel like there would probably have to be someone coming in from someone else coming in to rescue them, and then they like regroup or something. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be something to have a season 2 where maybe they have to deal with Wanda's, because apparently she didn't, like, was she trying and failing? I'm not sure. That's another thing. I wouldn't have minded knowing, was she trying and failing to recreate the world before the zombies? Or was it just a lie to get more power so that she could set up this? Because just like have her either gloat or say, well, shit, it didn't work. Doesn't have to take up much screen time. But maybe that if there is a season 2, or would have been, that's where they'll explain. But yeah, no, I think season 2, 4 episodes of okay, they're fighting zombies, but there's also this fake reality they have to deal with. I don't know. I don't. It could be something. I definitely think if they're making more, they definitely do have to. I don't really want a season 2 or 3 or etc. that is very similar to this, and that's sometimes when something is popular in the MCU, they'll stick too close to that formula. Yeah, I think that because there's definitely you could do something with that. That's a like so yeah, in this season, right? That was the thing. Okay, so I was about to say they didn't really do much Evil Dead shit here, but the part where hands and other body parts, I realized, zombie body parts fly and attack people. Okay, that's very Evil Dead. I am yeah, I was fond of that. But yeah, a season 2 could have more Evil Dead type shit of like, oh, is this food? Nope, that's a zombie. Some like yeah, I think they could. I think they could do something with that. But the let's see, yeah, another thing that was very very anime. Yeah, the massive energy blast and all the magic. Shit. When she, when the hands, yeah, and Kamala, lets Wanda use her magic as well. The whole the massive blast, and yeah, it did look like the Earth was being remade. Yeah, okay, so the ending. So yeah, I've already mentioned, hypothetically, if there's a season 2, and my interpretation of who wins and who loses, I've gone into. So all that I feel like really remains here is whether or not I thought that it right, I guess. Okay, so in case you don't want to look it up or forgot or whatever, the Polygon article, I already mentioned, there's a comment, the very first, it looks like, comment that certainly one of the first. Jesus Christ, my back. Good thing I'm getting treatment soon. One of the comments corrects, saying, Ironheart didn't die in the first episode. The article thinks that everything after, well, let's see. Yeah, it basically interprets it, which I don't really blame them for, because, like, yeah, I don't know, Riri doesn't look that different there at the end, and it's hard to tell if we're seeing the empty space, barren wasteland sort of thing that they were fighting in episode 1, or the one that they were fighting in here at the end of the battle. And there's the whole thing of, was it remade or not? So, like, I think there was too much confusion. Anyway, the Polygon article thinks that basically everything after the part that makes it look, the part where Ironheart was attacked in the first episode and like disappeared, didn't die. Everything after that, the Polygon article interprets as being a hallucination induced by Wanda, and I don't blame them. Shit, I'm harping on this. I don't know why. God damn it, we're moving on. Anyway, yes. God damn it. Okay, hard to focus because of the back pain, but I want to finish the Too Stubborn to Quit. Yes, I swear it's not like doing fucking permanent damage or something. It just hurts. Even though it's pain, and I was explicitly told that pain don't hurt. Anyway, yeah, so given that I very much believe that it is not supposed to say, yeah, I believe that the interpretation we're supposed to have is, yes, Riri is really, shit. The 3 episodes were not hallucinations, everything that happened, other than the 2 perfect world bits, which she had those dreams in other episodes, and here it's shown for longer. Those are the only parts that were not real. I don't really have a problem with a downer ending to this sort of thing. I don't love that. Okay. No, I'm moving on, because all I would say, yeah, I've already said it. Yeah, okay, hypothetically, I already mentioned, I've said everything I have to say about the idea of this not being the last of Marvel Zombies. If this really is the end, and I think they might be A/B testing. I think they might just be like seeing, well, do people want more? Because, hypothetically, let's say that we don't get any more after this. I definitely do think that there is something compelling in taking, characters this optimistic. You have Kamala, Shang-Chi, Peter Parker, like some of the, like in the MCU. I'm not talking about outside. I don't know enough about Shang-Chi outside. But in the, and I guess Kamala, I feel like she's also really optimistic in the comics. But anyway, I feel like I've heard that. Anyway, God damn it, it hurts. Yes. So let's see. We have the optimistic characters, giving them such a clear potential victory. It's not like it was like, well, I don't even know what's supposed to happen here. And they came so fucking close too, because they took out a lot of those zombies. There was a bit there where they were doing so well. Everything was going so well. You thought, oh right, MCU, they're gonna win. I mean, they kind of tend to like, I don't know. I guess WandaVision, I guess an argument could be made that she doesn't really win so much as just like, I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how much weight you want to give the whole the fight between her and Agatha, because she does win that. But she also loses. She thought she could get her kids. She thought she could get kids, and she thought she could have her husband back. Neither happened. And the let's see, I think, or have Vision back. I forget if they were married before the show. I guess with the show Agatha all along, I guess there it depends on, do you think Agatha or oh my god, shit, Billy? God damn it, I forget if he's. I think it's Billy, right? Tommy was the one that didn't come back yet, I guess. But anyway, which one you consider the protagonist of that? Because Agatha loses, but he doesn't. He got the yeah. He won at least some. Right? I guess one can sort of debate. Anyway, it's very unusual for them to have the good guys lose, and I do think I would like for them to do some stories where the good guys lose, so that it feels like, oh, that might actually be the case this time, because I do think with some of these, they do manage to still, I'm not one of those people who say that, oh, it's all about plot twists. If you know the ending, there's no point. No, listen, we're still retelling Shakespeare, and very rarely is the ending changed. A lot of people will go into their first Shakespeare play already knowing the ending, because cultural osmosis. That doesn't mean that, because like, other than, like, I know a lot of people are not going to watch stage plays, and I'll admit, I haven't watched a stage play since I was like a kid. But there's also the movies, there's some significant differences and distinctions between a number of the films that adapt. Um, I mean, the fact that something as out there as Romeo plus Juliet exists, is wonderful. I'm not gonna spoil that movie, but I will say there's a number of things in it that you might at least be able to deduce, even if you don't know already. I do think some of these, I think recently they've been really, really good. I cared a lot. Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts, and I did kind of think some of the ending of I can never remember its subtitle, Captain America 4, Sam Wilson's first solo movie. Yeah, I thought there were things there that worked, including about the ending. But at some of these, it's just like, okay, we've reached the climax. We know the good guys are gonna win. Like occasionally they'll do something slightly different, like shit. I'm sorry, I can never remember. I think I want to say Monica Rambeau went through the the portal into some other part of the multiverse. But then it's also just, oh, it's a tease. They're gonna bring in the it's a tease for a future thing, is what I'm saying. They're gonna bring in the X-Men, and they're just saying, oh, look, it's here we have, there's Beast. So it's still not like really a loss. It's just a setup for a future thing. I would really respect if this was the because no, I seriously I think that would be genuinely very because that's super fucking dark, you know, to have all this hope, all this struggle, and then they just fucking lose, in a monumental way. Like Earth it might not be saved. I don't know that anyone could save Earth from Wanda at this point. She might be too fucking powerful, Certainly, I think that's a reasonable way to read it if we don't get more. If we don't get a direct continuation of this story, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I think that pretty well covers. Yeah, you know what? I think overall, I am in favor of the ending. It's kind of one of those things where I almost need to see, like, I guess once enough time has passed, we'll see whether or not we get a sequel. And if we get a sequel, yeah, maybe the sequel can make me appreciate this ending more. You know, I mean, I think the opening of this episode helped me appreciate the ending of the one right before it more. So there's that. Yeah, I think that pretty well covers it. So yes, I don't know if maybe they overused Kamala saying Bismillah. She said it at least once in this episode, and at least once in the episode with where Steve Rogers, or rather his torso, attacks Alexei. I don't know. It's let's see. I think yeah. I have to admit, I have never like I know that that the thing that they mention, oh, we got to go get boba, and yeah, I don't know. I am well aware that there are a number of people who are, just like they can't get enough of boba. And I mean, he is a great Mandalorian.